Hey, everybody, give me just a second. Let me get this all shared out real fast. And then we'll get started. What was that about? One second, hold on. I made a boo-boo. Okay. Alright, let me turn this off. And I always start the incense as I get going. This is Breaking the Cage, Astrology TV with the Matrix Mind Media. Today I feel some patchouli coming in, so let's do some patchouli. And we're approaching the equinox, so this is an powerful time. I keep telling everybody, I mean, because I go through with so many people on a regular basis with the astrology and so forth, and they're always fastened to like the full moon or the new moon energies. And I always try to remind people, I'm like, when there's an eclipse coming in, when the solstices are coming in, or the equinoxes are coming in, they will trump those moons. The moons will direct like an energy as to what's going on, but it's a longer period of a process. So they kind of trump the moon energies in general and give it an extra oomph. And you are definitely feeling that. I've been speaking to everybody for a while now about, the planetary movement. The Shaman residence has still been off the chain. We had all of the different solar flares coming in. We had the geomagnetic storms, and they're slowly slowing back down. The radio blackouts are starting to come back down, but the Shaman residence is still spiking. And I really would not expect it to stop right now as we come up to the equinox. I would expect these things to be actually getting even more and more potent, in honesty. And even though we've kind of seeing a calmness as the solar flares are starting to slow down a little bit, and the geomagnetics, I would not be surprised by midweek or closer to the equinox if they start popping back up again as well, because the energies, this isn't, like I said, just a 1 month cycle. We're looking at like a 3 to 6 month cycle. Technically, your solstices are 6 months. Your equinoxes are 6 months, but it will go from 3 months to that 6 month. You're also where you're seeing the planet herself is pretty much, like I said, spiking with that Shaman residence. She's getting rid of a lot of her bad energies as well, and she's lifting her vibration, which is forcing us. I've been saying this since way before 2020, that the earth is going to force us to go up in vibration, but in order to do that, that still means that all our funky junk has to come out. It has to come out, and it's got to be put on the playing field. It's got to be dealt with. And part of the equinox itself, on a spiritual perspective, is that it represents the struggle between the light and dark. It represents the struggle between death and life. And that has a lot to do with what's going on right now with these energies. Now, let me back up for just a minute. This is Breaking the Cage for March 13th through the 19th. On the 20th, you have the equinox. Is it? Yeah, the 20th, we technically have the equinox. On the 21st, you have the astrological new year beginning when the sun moves back into Aries. There's also the new moon. The very next day, on the 22nd, you have Pluto, which is moving into Aquarius. So bing, bang, boom. And he ain't moved in 30 years. So, and I've been telling people, you know, your knees, your upper thighs, your calves, your ankles, even your hips, all of that is being directed by the knees. I mean, think about it. The flexibility of what the knee is able to handle and is responsible for. This is where Pluto's been for the last 30 years. He's about to move into the calf energy, into the circulation of this part, because it's part of the circulatory system, and he moves into the ankles. So even though he's coming out of that, that knee energy is connected to both the upper part of the leg and the hips. So you're feeling a lot of the last 30 years of what hasn't gotten through and those chakras coming out, feeling it, you know, and I'm going to get into that more when I get into the blueprint, but I'm wanting you to understand so much of what this is. You're looking at the beginning of an astrological new year, so you're definitely the end of a cycle, the beginning of a cycle. You have the equinox, which is complete balance of light and dark in the celestial understanding when we're looking at the celestial equator here on the planet. The struggle of the light and dark, the struggle of the death and the life, how technically it's in balance. And then we start looking at where the energies are taking us in the blueprint, as well as astrologically, as well as what Spirit is giving me. And Spirit is saying, forgive my horrible singing skills. But the way they told me to say it exactly this way. Oh, Father, tell me, do we get what we deserve? What we deserve. And way down we go. You know that song. This has a lot to do with the energies that we're looking at right now, as well as I've been saying with this energy of Saturn moving into Pisces with Neptune. And for the next 3 years, these energies are just going to come closer until they move out and go into Aries. Way down we go. That song speaks to you of going down into your darkness, down into where you fall, down into your core, down into where you crawl, and you can't crawl no more. This energy we're looking at is a very delicate energy, because it can be the most powerful energy, rejuvenating and spiritual, soulful life energy, and the most destructive. Then you've got Pluto, which is also moving into Aquarius. But the reason they had me say it that way is because Spirit is saying so many times when I deal with, you know, my clients, so many times I have to remind them what you want and what you need are completely two different subjects. But a lot of times we don't know what we want. And this is exactly why it is that we don't know what we need. So when Spirit is giving me the information to give to my clients, I have to hold up. I know what you feel as a medium, as an empath. I know where this is coming from, but we have to go deeper. And this is where that takes its little funky bunch of your balance of light and dark. Because that down to the darkness of yourself, down to the core, down to where you fall, down to where you crawl, that can also be knocking you down to where you give up and you quit. But that can also be where you're finally go, wow, I'm not doing this anymore. It's that Piscean energy, that Saturn energy. This is why it's so important for us to understand it's the equinox, it's the light and dark, it's the balance here of both, which you are. This is where I keep warning of, you know, domestic violence, robberies, riots and stuff. It's where in the trap mental case of our mind when we're shattered to beyond belief, where that person really thinks, if I just rob that store, then I'll have the money and I'll be able to make it better. No, that's getting into the worst of yourself and falling into where you cannot come back, versus realizing part of this energy is that Neptune magic, that illusion and delusion. Saturn's rules, walls, and boundaries, trying to help you to understand where we have to find that new structuring and where it is that we rebuild. Where are we separated? Again, it'll run you down into your darknesses, down into your fall, where you fall, down into where your core is. It's when you're looking around at the world and things are hard on you and you're starting to go, where is the ego getting in more than the oneness, more than that soulfulness? Where is it more about self? But that's the magical twist here, because it has to be about self, in the sense of Neptune is in a form, it is the end in the 12th house. Saturn is coming in. It's teaching us a lesson of how to be better spiritually, soulfully connected. I've been saying over and over again, it's not about being meaner, because we're getting to where we're feeling more and more of we're being meaner. I'm not putting up with that shit anymore. Yes, because we need to grow. We're not going to continue to put ourselves on that back burner. We're not going to continue to allow somebody else to be more important to us than us. But at the same time, where is it that it's become so much of ourselves that now we're separated and we're fighting, instead of seeing the love in others? Where is that ego and that self getting into, oh no, the only way I can make it better is to do these things, or is to take this control, which is ultimately pushing and shoving and taking the power away. But what that is fear. And we need to really pay attention to what this is, because what we want and what we need are often two separate things. And this is the magical time of seeing both balanced, light and dark, self-projected energies. And what this means as we come through these lower vibrations versus recreating who we are and moving forward in the most healthiest ways by realizing where we connect to what doesn't help us. See, because Spirit is reminding me again, Spirit gives you what you need, not what you want. A lot of this energy is specifically talking about the heart. And let me make it very clear what I mean. I'm not just saying the heart chakra. I'm not just saying Lilith here in the 5th house. I'm not just saying the sun, which is in Pisces, right here with Mercury and with Neptune this week. Incredibly powerful in that 12th house. And is the healing being made? Or is it me being in my comfort zone and what I want doesn't actually serve me because that's fear of moving into something new? I'm talking about heart. I'm talking about your freaking life force energy. With all of these solar storms that you've been having, geomagnetic storms, the solar flares, with the Shaman residents being off the chart, then you got the planets making their moves, getting into the blueprint. You've got every reason in the world for our bodies to be acting completely wackadoo. But it puts stress on the heart. I remember I was told once, mucus is the way that the heart cries. All that congestion that's coming in, that flu symptoms everybody's having, or hay fever if you're on the other side of the world, the spiritual flu, we're having so much of that come in, and then additional body parts coming in, and additional other spiritual activities coming in. That way down we go. That's part of that psychic attack that I keep talking about that's coming in. If it can beat you down to where you're fine with being so only about myself, then the psychic attack is working to keep you separated. Remember, we as a unit, as the planet, want to rise. That doesn't mean to let shit go wrong. That means still stand your ground. But that means at the same time, we can't stay divided. And that's the energy right now. The division of the light and the dark, the equinox. And seeing what is the dead and what is the life. What death are you renewing in your life? What life are you breathing life into? Do you get where I'm going here? I'm trying to make it as bluntly as I can. The heart is not just your life force. I mean, it is. It's the most important thing. Without the heart's beating, the heart being able to do its job, to send the circulation around, keep you breathing, you're not even here anymore. So where are we placing too much on the heart? Yeah, I'm talking about your diet. I'm talking about your health care in general, but I'm talking about your chakras. And where are we still in denial? It's always the same shit about being in denial and doing our soul work. But where is it that we're putting so much off on it that we still have broken pieces that have to be mended? Because we're literally looking at this life force energy, and what will you birth from it? You have 3 years of this energy coming in. Not to mention, like I said, Pluto's moving into Aquarius, which is approximately another 30 years. So of course that's going to give you different energy. When I look into the blueprint, Pluto speaks directly to your immune system. I know I said he was in the knees and he's moving into the calves and the ankles, but he's also the circulatory system. This is the ability to move everything around, to circulate. And it's the teeth. Your immune system, your ability to bounce back, your ability to rejuvenate. This is why everybody's bouncing back so slow, so sluggish, so drag ass. Because Pluto is figuring out, I'm leaving this area. What last minute smack you down messages can I give you? I ain't going to be back in your freaking lifetime, most likely. And I'm getting ready to come over here, and now I got to reassess a whole new situation, start working on this for the next 30 years. He is definitely going through a major shift in himself of this energy and how he feels before it starts dealing with what it's going to do to you and your chakras and your slow transformation and healing right now. This is why I was telling you last week, you have got to give yourself some love, some you time, some break time, because you're not going to bounce back as quickly right now. You have, he speaks of, your immune system, speaks of your private parts, your organs of fertile reproduction. It's Pisces energy. It speaks to you directly of colds, mucus, as well as any kind of discharge that comes out of the body. Remember, Pisces energy is ruled by Neptune, and it's a little bit mysterious. The funky things that the body does. Colds, mucus, discharge, things that we don't fully, we're like, what? Pussy weird shit. Dealing with odd illnesses. You have Saturn that just moved in there. Even though Saturn is in the feet now, Saturn is still the rules, the walls, the boundaries of the body. It is the skin, it is the skeleton, it is the teeth, Technically, it is your hair. It is the separation from you and the outer world. It may be literally in the calves and the ankles, but it is still talking to you about your whole body in general. You have that Aquarius energy, again, which is the teeth, the calves, the circulation. But the sun is in alignment this week with Mercury and Neptune. I mean, they are kind of just slightly moving away, but they're all within like 2 degrees. That's massive power. And Pisces, the universal 12th house, grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurities, all that you have to face. You have to stare down that shadow in order to heal and move forward and start a new cycle. Astrological new year, balance, equinox, it's all coming into play. Sun is the heart. It is the spleen, which is another life force energy. It is also part of the circulatory system. Mercury is the bladder and your bronchial tubes and anything you have 2 of. It's also your nervous system. Neptune, I was saying, with this energy here and that Pisces energy coming in, starting with that Saturn rattling things, like so, it's going to, people who have epilepsy, people who have, psychic disorders, people who have food poisoning, weird shit on that, hallucinations. This is, psychic attacking energy. Way down we go. It's like Alice in Wonderland. How low, how far does that tunnel go? And are you in charge of that tunnel, of yourself? Or will you separate and be all about me as you heal? Which is doing exactly what Pisces energy does. Grief, sorrow, shame, blame, skeletons in the closet means throw that stuff underneath the carpet. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know about it. I love my denial. Let me not heal. Because they don't understand what caused it. And then the psychic attacks, the psychic disorders, the psychic, way down we go, start separating. This is what I'm trying to keep you from not falling into that trap. Because you're going to have the ones that are coming out like the decoys left and right, being, I can solve all of your problems for such and such amount of money, and I can do all of this, and da-da-da-da-da, because they know some of you are going to fall for that shit. I just say it like I see it. That's why I posted on my timeline, red light district. That's what you're looking at for the next 3 years. You have, in the blueprint, you still have Jupiter, you have Chiron, Vista, and Venus. Midweek, Venus is going to shift into Taurus. But this is all on the brain lobes, as well as the skull itself. Like I said, there's no reason why you wouldn't have some kind of psychic issues going on up here, cloggage going on up here, or the senses being off. Because you have so many planets that were in Aries. It's just like, like when you're going up in a plane and you have to pop your ears. So much conversation is there. And this week, you have Jupiter, Chiron, and Vista pretty much all in alignment as well. Slightly off, but still within 2 degrees of each other all week. That's the abundance. Jupiter is the abundance. Jupiter is anything he touches, he manifests, he builds upon, whether it's good or bad. What you feed your Jupiter is what you're going to get. And he's sitting literally on the brain functions, on how you cipher what you see, hear, think, speak, and what goes into that zeal point and sends to all chakras. Are we open to attack? Are we not open to attack? Are we open to mess up with this chakra or this chakra? Are you going to pay too much attention to the lower vibration? Way down we go. Or are you going to be in charge of your energy? Chiron is the wounded healer. Good at pointing out for everybody else, doesn't do such a great job of healing it for himself. And with Vista. Not Vista. Is it Vista? Hold on, let me look. Yeah, Vista. Vista is the keys to solving all of the problems. Abundantly throwing it all right in your face. But will you see it? Chiron, the wounded healer, great at seeing it on everybody else, not so good at acknowledging it for itself. In the first house, Aries, abundant, overthinking in your head. How are you projecting what you're thinking? How are you perceiving what you're thinking? Positive or negative? Light or dark? True balance. Are you going to see yourself? Will you see the separation that you are letting out? Or will you be like, wait a minute. Oh, see, now I am just being all about self. Versus when you have to be about self. There's a very big difference. Self-love, self-respect, self-value. These are things that are important, and you don't want to give away. You don't want to be naive about that. But at the same time, it's making sure we're not stepping over into full-on narcissistic energy. Separation, fine line. Free will's a bitch, babe. You have all of that energy going on in the head, abundantly, right on top of each other, going, I'm showing you the keys you need to open all the doors and fixing this stuff. Will you see it or not? What will you do with it? I'm giving you the option. It's yours, huh? You have that throat energy, which is, I've been saying the whole time, is all in the throat, all in your breathing, all in the esophagus, all in, what you're taking in. Are you breathing in the negative? You getting caught up, choked up on it? Literally? I've caught myself doing it. This is why I'm good at pointing it out to you guys. You have Juno here, which is the sacrificing commitment it takes for the proper self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. For the proper true power of self. The North Node trying to teach you how to do this properly. And Uranus, which is not very powerful here, gets a little bit more of manipulating and overpowering and push and shove because it's doing it wrong. It needs it, but isn't quite grasping how to take that power back. All of these things are showing you where you are on that whole Alice in Wonderland trip. Way down we go. What you need and what you want are separate things. We hold on to what we're comfortable with, what we know, what we feel secure with, but usually that's not what we need in any way, shape, or form. And we all know if we're not growing, then we're stagnant. You have Gemini, which will be moving out shortly. It's not going to be staying in Mars won't be staying in Gemini much longer. Still, it's literally on the arms and the fingers this week. You have Pallas, which has been in the stomach. Athena, the warrior goddess, strategic thinking about your psychic sponge energy and how much are you sucking up into you and absorbing. What are you connected to? What are you attaching your energy to? Will depend on that psychic attack, how far way down we go. Lilith is in the heart. And then you have Ceres, which is all about karma. That's what they keep throwing out at me right now. Karma and relationships, karma and relationships, karma and relationships. But it's about nurturing or neglecting. Is it being nurtured or is it being neglected? The relationships karma. And what are you creating with these relationships? Now, I usually try to do the positive energies when I do the actual astrology, not the blueprint. But it's important this week that I kind of go backwards because there are very positive things out there. You know, the sextiles, the trines, and some of the chain reactions, which could go either way. But it's important this week that I kind of do it backwards from the most challenging first. Because, like I was saying, what we want, what we need are different things versus way down we go. And do we get what we deserve? What are we projecting out there that we truly want? Are we throwing out from the negative perspective? I just got a possum. Some of you guys need to understand that, playing possum and that protective energy of the possum. Yeah, because I have it right here now. But of helping you to understand where I'm taking these energies. You have a grand cross most of the week, which is like a grand square. It's the most challenging of all of the aspects. Meaning, everything that's involved in the grand cross is questioning each other. Period. It is the North Node in Taurus, which is your second house, speaking about everything you need to learn about coming into your power, about creating and manifesting properly your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, your uniqueness, your individuality, your freedom, how to speak it, create it, breathe it. It is definitely not getting along with the South Node, which is normal. They're always in opposition, which is the 8th house of your relationships, your birth and death of your relationships, your fertility of your relationships, your rebirth, your regeneration of these relationships. The 8th house is your resources within the relationships, like taxes, things that you are more than one person responsible for. The bills, the taxes is also where sex becomes a duty. Okay? And the South Node is what you're good at, but it's not serving you anymore. It's where you're not growing. It's where the relationship isn't blossoming. It's just there. Okay? We're talking directly with Pluto. As Pluto moves at the end of this week, well, technically next week, but it's on its last little leg here in the 10th house of your honor, your reputation, your prestige, your social committee, truthfully. It's also your jobs, your careers, society, the outer world, where the outer world society has authority in your life, and or if it has authority in your life, or how much. Pluto is, though I walk through the shadow of death, it will fear no evil. It is death, decay, and destruction. For renewal, rebirth, regeneration. It's the death card. End of a cycle, beginning of a cycle. That's what this is all about. Going into the groups, the memberships, the committees that we are part of. Are we blossoming? Or are we staying stagnant with the same old things and not moving? And then it's speaking with that 5th house. This is also the heart, the creativity, your ability to invest in yourself, your ability to enjoy life and have time doing the things you want. Are you speaking of your power, or are you stuck in your vulnerability? Are you speaking of, this is what I want, this is what I need, and this is what I can do, and this is what I can't do? Or are you just a sheep that's going to go along with the ride because this is not the time? All week, this is going to be fighting with each other. Period. Very challenging at saying, I can keep you in your place. I can keep you exactly where you are, unless you can start to see where that line is. The positive, the negative, the light, the dark, the death, the life. You have a grand trine, but it's not a grand trine. I'm calling it one because the grand trine is technically a good thing. This is all negative challenges. So it's coming up in a negative aspect where that sun energy, the Mercury and Neptune, is not getting along with that not getting along with that South Node at all. And it's not getting along with Lilith at all. So that's your 12th house, your grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurities. It's overcoming who you was and finding out who you are. What you want versus what you need. The heart needs the life force to be thriving. Lilith is in the heart space. I'm going to give you enough you energy, enough loving ego energy. Why are you here? Why are you burning? Why is your soul burning? Your soul fire? Yes, we all came back here for a reason. We all have things we have to do, but your soul fire is for you, and only you can live it. Only you can ignite it. Only you can be part of the creativity and the expression that creates you. Like I said, artists have to have time to do their art. A poet can't just, they write them down in pieces. They save it. They make their stories. Novelists write their stories. Singers write their, and musicians learn how to play. You have to have time. Sports, athletes. Do you have time to love and enjoy and create and be part of who and what you want to be? It's speaking directly with that South Node going, yeah, but I bet those rules, laws, and boundaries with those relationships will kind of keep you from it. And in fact, it'll make you feel bad about doing it because it's the 12th house. We don't really heal here. This is where we hide our secrets from ourselves. No. This is something of showing you it's right there in your face, but what will you do with what you're being seen? Then you have that sun energy, that Neptune, and that Mercury, which is not getting along with Jupiter, Vesta, or Chiron. The beginning and the end, the new cycle, starting to believe in yourself, take the chance, step out, do it, follow through. That's your key, follow through. Aries is not good at the follow through. Vista is the keys to unlocking the door. Chiron is the wounded healer. Jupiter will abundantly manifest whatever is coming at it from the sun, from Mercury, and from Neptune. Where are you taking your magic? This is why I keep saying to you, how multidimensional are you? Will you get trapped in this 3D low vibrational shit, or can you see the mysterious, beautiful story that's trying to come through and help create it? Because we teach by our actions. So will you get caught in that way down we go and keep that going until you're on your core, till you're crawling and you can't get up? Or will you show somebody else how to maintain your balance, how to be powerful in your balance, and at the same time, let me give you a hand and help teach you. This is very big part about what is going on right now. You have that Neptune, that magic, that sun, and that Mercury, that 12th house. Learning to see what has to happen to make the changes happen. Isn't getting along also with Mars, which then isn't getting along with Uranus, which then isn't getting along right back with the sun and Mercury and Neptune. So this is your warrior communication, your aggressive power, action, passion, also connected with that heart chakra. Speaking to the Uranus, independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom. Will you be a lion in a cage? Will you bat? Or will you stand in your power? How many times can I say it? If you cannot control your emotions, you will never harness your full potential or power. This is about not letting those emotions drive you batshit crazy right down into the wrong side of things. That's where that psychic energy can take it real quick and mess things up. You have that Mercury, Neptune, and the sun isn't getting along with Lilith. Believing in yourself, believing in the fact that you want to do these things. It's your creative expression. It's your hobbies. It's your fun zone. It's enjoying this life. If you don't enjoy this life, why? What is keeping you from enjoying your life? What have you allowed? That's the key. to take so much precedence over your life that it has literally sucked any enjoyment out. Because that's what you need to pay attention to. That's where your changes need to begin. I tell people all the time, I get people all the time who are like, well, I have to work 2 jobs, I have to do this, just to get by. You know what? So, that's part of where our mind, our auto brain is. When we start stepping out of that auto brain, out of that society, out of the, the machine running your life, and you start truly manifesting. I've told people for years now, I'm like, I've been in positions where they're like, as a manager, they're like, well, how come you get away with that? We all have to work 40 hours, da 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 da. Because I came in saying what I won't do. Maybe you should try it. You might have to take baby steps to get you fully there, but if you don't speak it, you don't ask it, you'll never receive it. You have to enjoy your life. If you're not getting any of that enjoyment, there's something there to really look at what's keeping you and why are you allowing it to keep you. You also have us not getting along with the South Node, making you feel like you continue to have to follow suit. No. There's a lot of things going against you. We do have positives, but you need to know these things so that when you're seeing it and feeling it, you can be like, no. This is that separation. This is that self-sabotage. This is that stuff taking me into full-on ego, taking me into self, and keeping me separated from where I'm truly wanting to go and that unity of my soulfulness. Pluto isn't getting along with Venus or Juno, as Venus goes from the 1st house to the 2nd house. Juno is the commitment and the sacrifice it takes to make it happen, with the communication of Venus going into the throat chakra, into self-respect, self-value, self-esteem, or the very naive, I'm going to whimper and not say anything and let somebody else dictate to me. Pluto is the beginning and the end, as it's literally at the end of the authority house, going into your groups and your memberships, and what has the ability to help your dreams, your ambitions grow. And it all comes down to the sensitivity, the proper way of communicating, the keys to the commitment to making it happen has to do with self-belief. It's actually a beautiful thing, but like I said, it's definitely one that is, you've got to be in that power. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to feel it. This is definitely stepping us into a new projective of energy. I keep saying the vibration is shifting. How multidimensional are you? Can you bounce back and forth really fast and acknowledge it? You have sextiles, which are positives. You have Saturn, which is getting along great with Pluto. Saturn is now in the 12th house. Pluto is still right there at the edge, setting the rules, walls, and boundaries. Let me speak what I need, and then we can start making this happen. Start making this train roll, is what I just heard from Spirit. It is getting along great with Venus, Juno, as it goes from that 2nd house to that 1st house. Communication, speaking, sacrifice, commitment, sensitivity. Venus is able to charm well, as long as you can find out how to word it. That is also getting along great with Mars, which is still in Gemini, the 3rd house, communication. Your inner warrior can do this if you believe. It's just, will you actually speak up? You have Jupiter, Chiron, and Vesta in that 1st house. Your core energy, your character, how you see yourself, how you see the world around you. It is getting along great with Uranus, stepping into your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, freedom. believing in yourself, back building that self-belief. These are there, but there's those energies that are going to try to stomp you down, and you have to not let that happen. You have trines, which are going to be taking place. Saturn is getting along great with the South Node and with Mars. So this is your 12th house again, showing you where we need to make these changes, where we're stagnant, where we're not healing, where we keep doing the same shit that keeps us from actually really getting better, but we're comfortable with it because that's what we're used to. That's not really what you want. And it's speaking directly to changing the relationship, rebirthing, shifting them in some form, and speaking in the communication of actually taking action. Uranus and Aries this week on the 15th and the 16th are having very powerful energy speaking with the moon as it is going over Pluto. Death, decay, destruction as it's at its end. At 29th degree, the moon is amplifying, coming into that power, coming into that authority, taking your power back, making sure that you are seen with the true honor and reputation you want. Death, decay, and structure, renewal, rebirth, regeneration, authority, outer world. And we're talking about Uranus and Aries coming into that power. This is a very positive thing unless you use it wrong by, being like the lion in the cage and attacking your way in, and then it's going to make you look bad. This is all strategically thinking and soulfully being grounded in your multidimensional self. Claiming all of those powers and all of those different timelines. You have some unpredictable energy, though. And the unpredictable is always some of the most powerful and potent because it's left up to be unpredictable. This is the way Spirit shows it to me. Mars and Jupiter with Chiron and Vista. That communication. Your mouth. Your heart chakra. Will you be in emotions? And where will you take that? Jupiter is going to amplify anything. Chiron is after the healing, but Vista is the keys. The communication is everything. Will you get your timing right? Or will you be misled by the emotions? If you cannot, you will never harness your full true potential if you cannot handle your inner chaos. You also have Mars, which is getting along great with Pluto here in that unpredictable way as it leaves the outer authority, as it's standing in your honor, your reputation, the society, the around you, the outer authority, your jobs, your careers. It all has to do with communication and how you will speak. And that then is speaking to Jupiter. So it's Mars, Pluto, and then Jupiter. Abundantly creating a new character of who and what you are. Showing the world abundantly, going back to that Chiron and that Vista, the keys to success is there, but the keys to screwing you up is there also. Free will's a bitch. On the 17th, you also have the moon. Again, that's going to be with Pluto as well. And so 15th, 16th, and 17th, it's going to be going through enough energy of that Pluto to be abundantly making it more. Now, remember, it moves in 3 days, but it's still within enough energy of that movement to still be setting more of your moon. Your moon is your emotions, for one, but it's also your mood, for two. It's also your physical body and how your physical body is feeling about these energies that are connected to it. So this whole week can be a wonderful week if you are in control of your emotions, your thinking, and your mouth. Because it can be the key to success are the key to destroying you and kicking you back to the curb and making you learn all over again. I love you guys. Bye.